We're going to answer this question before us. It says, if cos of x is equal to cos of pi on 6, and we have a domain in which my x is between 3 pi on 2 to 4 pi, we need to find the value or values of x. Okay, what exactly is this question asking me to do? Because it's one of those tricky questions, and you may have learned a different way to approach this in class, and that's fine. I'm just going to show you the way I like to think about it. If we begin by just drawing out a unit circle for ourselves and look at the right-hand side of our equation here, we have cos of pi on 6. Cos of pi on 6 is here, and it has an x value and it has a y value. Now, because we're dealing with x, we're dealing with cos, we only care about the x value. So in this case, it's just a. That's the only thing we care about. Now, in this situation, we know what cos of pi on 6 is. We know that our a value here will be the square root of 3 on 2. But the thing is, when you're dealing with these types of questions, this is pointless information. You don't need to know the exact value. All you need to know is whether or not you're considering the x or the y. That's it. The next thing you're going to ask yourself is, where else do I get a value of a out when I'm dealing with cos? Well, it's going to be down here. Do you see here, I also have a value for my cos, so for my x here. That right there, both these angles, so this angle and that angle, are both giving me a out. Okay, having now just appreciated that, let's just take a step back and ask ourselves, really now, what is this question asking me to do? What it's saying is, what values of x give me a? Because we know that cos of pi on 6 is a, right? So it's saying, well, cos of x is equal to a for what values of a? How can I get a out? So what angles give me a out? Now, before you just launch into your answer here, the next thing you need to consider is the domain you've been given, because it doesn't want an infinite amount of x values. It wants an x value only between 3 pi on 2 and 4 pi. Now, this tends to be a place where people have a bit of trouble. And again, I'm going through this question far slower than you would go into the test, but I just want to make sure you have a good understanding of what's going on here. Now, we need to consider the domain. I find it very helpful when people are just beginning to learn this stuff to actually draw out the domain on a number line. So again, you wouldn't do this in the test because it would just take far too long, but let's just consider what this domain would look like on a number line. Okay, so I'm starting with 0, and then I could go, all right, we've got pi on 2, we've got pi, we've got 3 pi on 2, we've got 2 pi. So as you can see here, I've just gone right around the unit circle because I know that this is pi on 2, this is pi, this is 3 pi on 2, and this is 2 pi. And then we would continue. So the next one I would consider is 5 pi on 2. So remember, 5 pi on 2 would be like going around and then back here. So this point here would be 5 pi on 2. Then I would go 3 pi. That would be here. Then I would go 7 pi on 2. That would be here. Then finally I can go 4 pi, which would be back there again. So as you can see, what I've really done with my number line here is just draw out what is on my unit circle. Now let's just try to tidy this up again. And again, I'm going far slower than you would go on the test. Okay, now this is saying that I only want to consider my x values between 3 pi on 2 and 4 pi. All right, so where is that? That is here to here. I only want to consider those values. So that means I'm not going to include anything here. So pi on 6 is not going to be one of my answers because where's pi on 6? Pi on 6 is somewhere here, and that falls outside of my domain. So even though cos of pi on 6 is equal to a, we don't care about it because it falls outside of my domain. Okay, let's now answer the question. So this has all just been a bit of a preamble. We now need to get to actually answering the question now. Okay, I can say that my x value is going to be this one right here. Because think, this is 3 pi on 2 plus a bit here. It's going to be right here. Now, how do we remember the angle for this coordinate? Well, I think about it as just 2 pi minus pi on 6. Because we know that this is symmetrical, right? So this value right there, that's pi on 6 there. So we're just going 2 pi minus pi on 6. And that's going to give me 11 pi on 6. And I know that 11 pi on 6 is right there. Then we continue. Where would my next one be? Let's just see if I can get rid of that. My next angle would be here. So if I was just to rub that out and do it again, I could go around once and then back here again. And if I'm here, do you see how I'm getting a out again? So what would this be? This would be x is equal to 2 pi plus pi on 6, because I'm going 2 pi around, but now I'm plussing pi on 6 onto that, and my answer to that would be 13 pi on 6. And the way I'm answering this is I'm just getting my denominators the same. So this is like 12 pi on 6 plus pi on 6, which is 13 pi on 6. But hopefully you can do that nice and quickly in your head. And then also think where this exists here, so a bit past 2 pi. Then the next one we have to consider is what? Let's get a fresh color here. The next one I would consider, if I get rid of that, I could go once around and then come there. Because I know that 4 pi is here, right? That's 4 pi around. So I can't go past 4 pi, but I can come here. So this would be x is equal to 4 pi minus pi on 6. And my answer to that would be 23 pi on 6. And again, the way I'm just getting that is by getting this to be the same denominator as that. So this would be 24 pi on 6 minus pi on 6 is 23 pi on 6. And that would exist somewhere here. Now you might be asking yourself, can I go around again? And the answer is no, you cannot, because let's just consider this for a moment. Let's just grab this color right here. Let's say you said, oh, what if I went around again? Do you see how you're going past 4 pi? So you'd be going here. You're going beyond your domain there. So that means these are the only answers that you can consider. So that means our final answer here would be x is equal to 11 pi on 6, 13 pi on 6, and 23 pi on 6. That would be your answer. Now, I've gone through this question very slowly. You'd have to answer this a lot quicker in a test and make sure you just have a good understanding of what's going on. If you found this a tricky concept, make sure you're reaching out to your teacher and we can give you a hand. All right, I'll see you in the next one.